Hey, I'm Laura Daniel, and welcome to Laura Loves New York. I have three amazing guests joining me today.
They are indeed Three Bright Lights of Three Bright Lights Productions, and they are the Human Telegraphs.
Human Telegraphs. Check it out.
We have Rachel Kay Barclay, the writer and creator.
To the playwright. I've written plays.
She also stars as Lily.
May the cries of our lips be heard.
We have Fern Lim, the art director and actress extraordinaire.
She stars as Trisha.
We are a professional business.
And Skye Rebel, who directed all 8 episodes and stars as Marco.
Consider the role if it goes to Broadway.
I'm so glad you guys could do this today. I'm just utterly delighted. Would you kindly tell our audience what Human Telegraphs, the web series, is about?
Well, it's about 3 friends who decide to form a message delivery service.
And these messages are very personal.
Yo, it's me, Tony.
I have a message for you. Consider this message a wake-up call.
What inspired you to write that? Because it's such a neat concept, and I think in this day and age of texting and how everything can have an impersonal feel.
I think first of all, when we decided that we wanted to do a series structure, I knew I wanted to bring a lot of different characters in. And I had heard a podcast, and this guy was a guest, and he told a story about how he was working in a bookstore, I think like in the Lower East Side. And this short, stocky man, balding man, he said, came into the store and he was like, "Are you?" I'm just gonna make up some names. Mark? He's like, "Yeah." It's me, Jessica. I'm in love with you. And the guy was like, "Wait a minute, I did date a Jessica, but we haven't talked recently." Then, he put everything together. He was like, "Oh my God, like this is so weird." And this guy was like very shy and private, so he was a little bit mortified that this was done in front of customers and his coworkers. And I just thought it was an interesting idea. Like, what an interesting concept, of getting these messages delivered through a stranger you don't know.
Ben?
Yeah. Hi, can I help you?
It's me, Ivy. For God's sake, I'm absolutely in love with you. Can't you tell?
Ivy?
When Rachel was writing and like developing the characters in more depth, I remember her saying that they were getting farther away from us. And I remember thinking and then I was like, actually, I feel like they're actually getting closer to us, but like closer to the parts of ourselves that we don't show as much.
I'm gonna be a spastic wrecking ball all up on you. Brought to you by the Human Telegraphs.
Like, oh, Rachel, that's so interesting. You actually kind of like tapped into a part of me with like how Trisha develops that I don't really show many people, but that is a lot of me.
Is this some sort of fad?
It's not a fad, we're a message delivery service.
2 messages delivered in my office in one day?
We're running an office promotion right now.
And Rachel's Lily is the dreamer, writer behind it all.
Stop smiling, neither of us can make rent. Oh, neither can I. Who's gonna cover us then?
I have an idea.
A business idea.
And then there's Skye Rebel's Marco.
Even clouds could.
I think that I could bring a lot of inspiration to Margot as well, with her being an actor and just like the crazy experiences that I've had as an actor.
You were going to cast me as a 60-year-old vagina?
Different people you meet and situations you get into that you're not anticipating. So that was definitely fun to play with from my own experience.
I have my audition with the agent tonight. My dream roles. Audrey Hepburn in Breakfast at Tiffany's. And Hamilton on Broadway.
It's always fun to see how, you have one idea of what a character will be, kind of even with Joey.
I'm gonna need some extra documentation.
You really took Joey to like a whole new level. I had one idea of what Joey would be, and then we see, an actor do something really fun with the character, like, oh, that's even better.
You guys are applying for the same apartment. Awkward.
I think that's what's so yummy about this show is that it's so innovative. It's such a neat idea of creating human connection. It made me think of, I don't know, a little bit of like in high school where you want to pass a note to somebody, or you want somebody to tell somebody that you like them, or if you were angry, if you could hire somebody to go tell somebody else off. It's such a fun idea. And you guys have been sweeping up awards
from all over the world. Best web series, best comedy, best acting, best ensemble, and best director.
What made you go, okay, I want to direct this? Seeing your character work as an actor and then thinking of you as a director, it's a lot to juggle. And you do it really well. And again, really impressed at how you made the 2 changes.
Thank you. It was very challenging, more challenging than I anticipated, but I was very fortunate to have such an amazing team. And our director of photography, Samantha Pyra, we worked together on the pilot as well. So that was really wonderful to have her support throughout the series, to have that kind of shorthand already and know that we had our vision was in line. You get to a certain place in your craft where you're like, okay, you know what needs to happen in order for a scene to go a certain way or to get a certain performance out of yourself. And I found that so intriguing to want to communicate with other actors in that way.
Part of growing up is learning how to share.
And then when Rachel and I started talking about creating a web series, my main goal was to be an actor and to create my own content and to take charge of that and create opportunities for ourselves, because it was right around the time when that was becoming really more mainstream of putting your own work onto YouTube. Mm-hmm. And then when I read Rachel's script, I fell in love with it. I'm such a visual person that when I read it and I just that it takes place in New York and everything, all these visions started coming to mind of where we could be shooting and the colorfulness. I wanted to be able to take that vision, those ideas that were coming to mind and put it to life. And I think I just got really excited about the idea.
Have we hit the jackpot?
We are in the money.
I loved how you captured the flavor of the city, everywhere from Coney Island to Fifth Avenue. It was so well done. And again, the color, that's the thing that really popped for me, because sometimes we think of New York as just this gray, especially in the winter, this gray you're slogging through. I think as artists in New York, we see the city in a different way. I think we see the shadow, but we also see the rainbow of light. And that's what this show really had for me. It's a kaleidoscope of fun.
Because we do, I think, just naturally bring a lot of ourselves to the chemistry of our characters, because we were friends before we started.
Where's the key to the Chambers of Delights? Margot had it.
That giant key?
How long did it take you to shoot the series? I think you did it very quickly.
We had 13 days over 2 weeks, I believe. 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks.
Wow. I'm just, it's okay. Yeah. 8 episodes in 2 weeks.
With multiple overnights. Don't forget that part.
Yes. I don't know if you guys really got much sleep during those 2 weeks. So much is so beautifully done. I mean, from the costumes.
What are you wearing?
You said burlesque dress.
Said grotesque dress.
All the characters are so distinct. And again, having been one of them, it was so fun. The flavor of New York was really captured there, I thought.
I don't know why women find him so sexy.
I love that each character held their own and was very specific to what they wanted their path to be.
Hey, Trisha.
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad. Good.
We're hopefully moving in next month.
I doubt it. With the Baroque nuance, it was clearly lacking.
You're skating on clouds. I find it extremely disruptive.
I also want to give a shout out to Caroline Duncan, our wardrobe amazing lady, because she brought the color to the characters with her costumes for sure. Colorful is always one of our adjectives that we use to describe the show. That was always our goal, was to do that with the visuals in every sense of the word, with our colorists and with our costumes and just showing the cityscape.
Well, and Fern, you are the art director, so I love following you on Instagram. I love following all of you guys on Instagram, actually. What were some of your favorite places in the city to film?
Yeah, definitely Coney Island, because it felt so epic and colorful, and just to be walking down the sidewalk in Coney Island with the roller coaster in the background, it was just one of those places that we talk about that we're we didn't really have to do any set dressing.
You have to live like this at the edge of the world.
Don't be dramatic. Coney Island is at the end of a subway line.
I loved filming the scenes that were Montegro, so the Da Vinci Cult, and then episode 7 and 8 in Eliza's mansion, they were actually the same location, just different floors. It was just so much fun to film because really, like, art-wise, they had so much glorious, just interesting stuff there. And so all we really had to do was, well, take a buttload of pictures just to make sure we put everything back in place, and then like just have a field day rearranging. And then I wouldn't necessarily say this was like my favorite location, but I think one of the most sort of like heart-filling locations for me was the office scene, because that was filmed at my day job. And they let us use the location for free, which was amazing. And it was extra stressful because then I was also location manager, and then like wanting to make sure I didn't screw up anybody's, you know, personal possessions because I knew all these people. But also just like having that sort of like back to back of being like, oh, wow, I'm experiencing this location in this other career of mine as an actor. And then the next time I returned to the office, because I used to freelance there as like a day jobber, I was like, oh, weird. I'm this whole pawn in the cog now, not like, you know, the producer, actor, art director person running around. And like, so I think having that contrast with that location specifically was really just like very expansive for me as a human being.
Rachel, what were some of your favorite spots?
I think probably the mansion was my favorite as well, filming, you know, episodes 7 and 8 up there. And then the Montego scenes, of course, downstairs too. I just loved the upstairs space.
But I also loved how you guys captured New York apartment life.
That's what happens when you don't pay rent. Oh, is this my life now?
That was my apartment.
Was it really? Oh my God! Just out of curiosity, where did you get the title from?
Check it out.
What made you think of Telegraph?
No, we had a different name first.
We
We were Don't Shoot the Messenger, and then another series popped up with the exact same name, and we're like, oh no! All right, changing ours to Untitled Project.
I think we just came up with it because it was so kind of absurd, but also catchy. And
old school, the telegraphs part, because we love riffing on old
right.
school things.
That sense of telegraphing a message to the world.
You got something you wanna say, Human Telegraphs, but you wanna stay away. Human Telegraphs, we guarantee you won't hate it when we communicate it. Human Telegraphs, check it out.
One of my favorite questions to ask my guests on Laura Loves New York is, if you had any advice you could give your younger self, what would it be?
You know what's best for you. Don't keep trying to fit yourself into other people's molds of like how to figure out what to do with life and what a successful life is. Like, you have a really good intuition, you've got a really strong gut, follow it.
Well, I have two things to say in response to what Fern just said. This is so crazy, but so like 2 months ago, I started really getting like deep into developing the character arcs for 30-minute version of the series, just like going more deeply into the characters because there's more time to do that. And that actually is really Trisha's internal journey, is learning how to follow her own compass as opposed to what she's always equated success with. So actually, all three of the girls are learning to trust themselves in different ways. So it's really funny that you said that. Anyways, I think what I would tell my younger self is you don't have to be so hard on yourself. It's okay if you don't please everyone, if everybody doesn't like you or your writing or what you do. You don't have to please everyone to be okay or to be all right. And it's okay to make mistakes. I've always struggled with procrastination, which is a form of really perfectionism for me, like the fear of not doing something right the first time, which is like impossible in writing because you're never going to do it right the first time. And worry less about pleasing others and just put yourself out there anyways.
I would tell my younger self, I think, similar to the theme of what Fern and Rachel were saying, like I just really believe in everyone's individual journey, and that, you know, especially with social media these days, it's like easy to compare ourselves and sometimes we get caught in that of like not even realizing we're doing it. So I think it's just very important to remember what Fern was saying. It's like follow your gut, and only you know. In our industry, in being an artist, everyone is on a different timeline too. So to remember that, like, don't compare your timeline to others. You know, always follow whatever you feel excited about doing next. And that's like the most important thing, is just to take those next steps.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think you three have done an incredible job. Again, thank you so much for sharing this wonderful story, a set of stories with with the audience. It's out there on YouTube, everybody. Go to humantelegraphs.com.
Follow us on Instagram because you'll get behind the scenes juiciness.
And it's
in our stories.
Facebook, TikTok.
Yes, I love how you guys are on the talks. Is there going to be a season 2?
We're really working on hopefully selling a season 1 30-minute version, like partnering with a platform. It's the goal. So I'm developing same world, same main characters, and just like more fleshed out, a lot more like character development and work.
I definitely think it could be out there on like a Netflix or an Amazon. It's so quirky and charming and such great messaging, you know, of how we connect as humans, and also very empowering for young women and actually any age. I love you have such a huge variety of ages.
There's someone I'd like you to meet.
Anyways, yeah, I like the idea of just having a lot of different perspectives from different generations.
Yeah, and I think that came with like wanting to explore all the different types of people in New York too.
Yeah.
And I loved how you didn't shy away from the dramatic messages. I'm like, whoa, this one really got me in the heart. And then to hilarious. It had such great variety. Nothing felt stale. You know, that's why I feel like this came out at such a great time of we need comedy right now and we need the feels, you know? So I'm very thankful for you all. Besides having me join you on this adventure as Joey,
You're batting in the big leagues now, ladies.
To the whole cast and the crew.
Honestly, we 3 really appreciate you for just how engaged you've been this whole time and like how supportive you've been. Like we've had our own conversations like, oh my gosh, we love Laura so much. So thank you. Thank you for like being part of, you know, our journeys.
I'm very honored to be part of it. You guys are indeed 3 bright lights.
I hope Human Telegraphs is a big success.
Hey, thank you so much for joining Laura Loves New York, and I hope we see all of you out there. Go over to Human Telegraphs on YouTube and enjoy this fun, wonderful ride.
Cause Laura
loves
New York.
Yeah, sing again.
Cause Laura loves New York.
Brought to you by the Human Telegraphs. We still have messages tomorrow, right?
We'll always have messages tomorrow.
It'll be a new day
of messages.